Hey guys, Ludicrous here with a 100% walkthrough for Mothered. This is a walking simulator horror story where you'll need to interact with various items throughout the world and follow out the activities that Mother gives you. This was released on March the 29th, 2023. The full completion will take you around 40 minutes following along with this guide. Without the guide and listening to all the dialogue, it's probably going to take you in the region of 2 to 3 hours to complete. There is also 2 endings and 3 missable achievements, which you potentially might miss without the guide. It was developed by Enigma Studios and published by Dolores Entertainment. It can be found in both the PlayStation and Xbox store, but as of recording this, we're not sure of what the price might be. When the game is live in both stores, I will pop the links in the description below. As we jump into the game, we're going to do the bad ending and the 3 missable achievements first of all. The controls are a little unusual. That left bumper is your aim or your crosshair, and then right bumper is to interact. So first of all, interact with the back of your father's head. We'll have to do this twice to exhaust all the dialogue. I am spamming RB to skip through all of this dialogue to get the fastest completion as possible. As I am speeding through the dialogue, I'll do my best to convey some of the story as we go through it. As we get dropped off outside of the car, we'll get the Home Sweet Home achievement for reaching home. You can also hold down A on the controller to sprint or run. I'll be doing this throughout the guide. Once we get to the front door, we just want to interact with the handle to go inside. This game is really dark, so apologies for the brightness. I have tried to amp it up a little bit so you can see. As we get into the living room here, swing right and we want to turn on this lamp. This will allow us to see the sofa here in the living room. We just want to interact with this box and then take it back to father, who's still sat outside in the car. So as we go back through the front door, take a right and then hang right here and you'll be able to see a fence again and the car headlights. Just head up to the car and press RB to interact with it and you'll give the box to father. That'll also give you the achievement for what's in the box, which I don't think we ever find out really. As we head back in the house, we're now going to go to bed. Our room's on the upper floor on the right hand side, so head up the stairs, take a right and it's the bright red door here on the left. Just interact with the handle and head inside, interact with the bed to go to sleep. This will progress the time to Monday morning. As we wake up on Monday morning, we're just going to do a 180 and head back outside of our room. Head back downstairs into the kitchen and we're going to speak to Mother. As we approach her, hold LB and then RB to interact, and then we can just press RB to skip through this. She welcomes us home, mentions that we've had an operation and a little bit of memory lost. She's also made us some rather unappealing breakfast here, which we're going to eat. And then this will progress us through to the afternoon. As we move into the afternoon, Mother has moved into the living room. Just head over to interact with her there. She's now going to give us a tour of the house. So she's now moved to the downstairs bathroom here at the end of this corridor. Just mentions that nobody's allowed in here. It's a restricted room. And now we're going to head up to our brother's room where she's moved up to. So up the stairs and then take a left and she's outside of here. Just mention that her brother never comes out of his room, but you can interact with him and speak to him by using the door. She's now moved into the bathroom here in the very middle of the house. So just talk to her in there. She's also taped up the mirrors so you can't see your face. And then this is the mother and father's room at the end of the corridor. Just speak to her there and it'll progress through to the evening. She mentions that the parents' bedroom is off limit, and then we'll head outside through the front door, and she stood outside opposite this lake or pond here. Walk up to her and interact. We'll give her a little bit of a fright as she wasn't expecting us. Watching the sun go down, and once you've gone through this dialogue, it will progress into nighttime. Always fun and games to try and navigate around during nighttime as it is pitch black, but we're just going to do a 180 and head back to the house. Open the front door and then head back upstairs to your bedroom. Before we go to sleep, we'll have to speak to Mother, which is creepily sat in the corner of our room for whatever reason. So go into the corner and speak to her here. The light will ping on and she'll just mention that she wants to tuck you into bed. Once this dialogue is exhausted, just interact with the bed and we'll move into Tuesday. Wake up from Tuesday morning, we're going to head outside of our room. And then Mother is back in the kitchen again. We're just going to have a little bit of a dialogue with her, and she's going to mention that she's going to give us a tour of the outside grounds. So it'll be the front of the orchard, the graveyard and the barn. First of all, we're going to eat some breakfast, so just scran all that. And then we're going to head outside. You'll find Mother just in front of the entrance to the orchard, which is roughly where we found her the previous evening. So just walk up to her, interact. She'll just mention that we've got an orchard and a shed down there, how we used to pick apples when we were younger. That'll progress us into the afternoon, makes it a little bit brighter. Head back towards the house and then take a right following this fence. You'll find Mother just in front of this locked gate here, which is to the graveyard. That leads to the graveyard, which only opens on a Friday. And then once you've spoken to her there, make your way a little bit further around the outside of the house, and there'll be another locked gate that she stood in front of, and she creepily mentions that you do not enter the barn. That'll move into the evening. Mother's now gone. We're just going to retrace our steps and go back into the house. Mother will be in the kitchen again. We're just going to exhaust the dialogue with her in the kitchen. And I think she briefly mentions that we may go pick apples in the orchard tomorrow. So that'll progress us through to the night time. We're now going to head upstairs to bed. However, as we get to the front of our door to our room, Mother will give us a bit of a jump scare. And then once that's done with, just open the door and go through to bed. We're then going to progress through to Wednesday morning. And it's the same morning routine as usual. So we're going to leave the bedroom and head downstairs to the kitchen, where we're going to find Mother there again. Quick little bit of dialogue about the orchard and how we used to pick apples as kids. Our brother won't be joining us this time, but we are going to have a little bit of breakfast before we head out. I don't think the breakfast is necessary as part of this guide. I think you can just skip that, but I kept it in there as routine. We're now going to head down to the left here, and you'll find the entrance to the orchard. So in between all these birch trees is the orchard, where we're going to collect some apples. On the left hand side of the orchard there is quite a large shed. You'll find Mother stood outside of it. Just going to have a brief conversation with her here, and then she'll mention picking up the basket and collecting 8 apples. So pick up the basket which is sat on this shelf here, and then the apples are quite difficult to see because it's pretty dark, but they tend to be quite high up in the tree. So there's 1 or 2 out the very front of the shed here. There's 2 out in this general direction. There's 1 near the gate where we came in, or the fence where we came in the kind of the dense area. There's a red apple sat amongst the trees. I think there's another one here around near Mother. So there's like 2 in front of the shed. There's 1 around Mother. And then there's 1, this is the one near Mother that I'm talking about. And then in this dense little bit of trees here, near the entrance where we came in, there's another apple in the tree. There it is. And then the remaining apples, I believe, run down kind of the right-hand side of this fence. You need to do this twice. Unfortunately, this is probably the most difficult part of the game. There's another apple there, about halfway down on the right. I think the last couple that we're missing is on the back fence line. So we're going to move to the back here. Here's one on the right hand side against the fence. They're always in the same location. We will need to do this twice for both playthroughs. I am going to use a little technique of just dashboarding or quitting out the game so you don't have to do it 3 times. Because one of the missable achievements can be done either way. And what we're going to do is get the achievement to pop and then quickly dashboard or quit out of the game. And then we'll just use that same checkpoint to get the second missable achievement. Once you've got all 8 apples, as seen in the video there, it's going to progress through to the afternoon. We're then going to speak to Mother to hand over the basket. She'll praise us for picking up the apples. And then she's heading back into the house. Once we've exhausted that dialogue, just head to the back of the shed to put the apples down. There we go. And that's going to move through to Wednesday evening, and we'll get the achievement for Fate Decided. It's gone a little bit dark, so it's going to be quite difficult to find the fence line with the hole in it at the back here, but it is in this general direction. There we go. And now we're going to head back to the house, and we're going to go to the downstairs bathroom, which she told us very early on during the tour that this was restricted. So she's been up to no good in there, but we don't know what yet. So we'll just speak to her here. She just explains why she was absent, and then she'll have a quick brief conversation with you before you leave. As we move into Wednesday night, this is going to be for one of our missable achievements called Rotten to the Core. So instead of going to bed, which the game wants you to do, we're going to take a left to our brother's room, interact with the main part of the door, not the door handle, and our brother's going to mention that she wasn't impressed with us and that she might be still out there in the orchard messing around with the apples. So this is going to be a little bit difficult to navigate because it's pitch black out here, but once you get the door handle open, we're then going to head down and left into the orchard again. Just hug the fence line so you know where you're going. And then we're going to bear left within the orchard itself, so we'll eventually run into the shed. Mother will be making quite a lot of noise in here, so it's easy to navigate to with your ears rather than your eyes. We'll have a quick interaction with her here, and she'll just mention Rotten to the Core multiple times, and you will get the achievement, which is one of the missables called Rotten to the Core. Now that we've done with that, we can progress into Thursday. So we're just going to try and find our way out of the orchard here, hugging the fence line, through the gap, and then once we get to the end here, bear right and head up the steps into the house, and we're going to go to bed, so straight up the stairs into our bedroom and interact with the bed to progress us through to Thursday morning. Thursday morning is a little different to the others, as we'll go downstairs into the kitchen and we'll find that Mother isn't there. There is, however, a note on the table, so we're going to interact with the note first of all. It's going to mention that Mother's not feeling very well, possibly something to do with the apples she was messing around with last night, we don't know. But we are going to eat the meal here, and then that'll progress us through to Thursday afternoon. Once we move into Thursday afternoon, we're going to head upstairs to Mother and Father's bedroom. Mother will be stood outside. Just briefly speak to her. She'll apologise for her attitude yesterday and then not being there for breakfast this morning. That'll then move us through to Thursday evening. As this starts off, the phone downstairs, I believe, will start ringing. So we're going to head down the staircase, and underneath the stairs itself is the phone on the table. Just interact with that, and then we'll have quite a cryptic chat with Father. Just mention that we have to behave ourselves and ensure that we keep eating the food that's made for us. Speak to Mother. That'll progress through to Thursday evening. She'll then step a little further back into the kitchen, walk up to her there, talk to her again, and then she'll mention about meeting us outside. So we'll head outside, and she's in the similar spot just outside the orchard gate here. She talks about it being cold this evening and then mentions the moon. Wants us to meet us at the very end near the roadside. So just follow the moonlight here that's shimmering on the water surface. As you get near the end, you'll see her silhouette, and we'll have to talk to her again. She then asks us to sleep outside instead of the house this evening. So after a quick interaction with her here, we'll actually look down at the floor and just interact with the floor. This will cause us to go to sleep on the dirt just outside here. And then this will progress us through to Friday morning. Mother is gone, so we're just going to do a 180 and follow this light back to the house. As we get to the house, we're then going to meet Mother in the kitchen again. Have a little bit of conversation with her in the kitchen, and then we're going to eat breakfast as we've done previously. So through the front door, talk to Mother, and then eat our breakfast. We'll need to speak to Mother again after eating breakfast, and she'll mention that we can go into the graveyard. Here we can get 2 missable achievements, however they do happen on the same day, and if you pick one it progresses into the next day. So what we're going to do here is kick off one, and then as the achievement pops I'm going to dashboard. I think just quitting out to the main menu would probably work as well here, but I did dashboard. So we're now going to move out to the graveyard after speaking to Mother. Graveyard is our first left, and then down here, which is usually locked. We're going to go for our angel first, which is interact with the kind of headstone or the memory block on the headstone of our own grave, which is a little unusual. So here we're going to get an error just saying that we shouldn't be walking any further. There's a stability risk, and then it's going to move to Friday evening. We're now going to head forward and interact with this headstone to reveal it. This is going to give us our angel achievement. And then as that pops, what I'm going to do is dashboard so it doesn't save our progress. And then just open Mothered again. Once we load back in, we should be at Friday morning again. I believe dashboarding out was maybe a bit too extreme. I think you could actually just quit to the main menu and it would put you back to Friday morning. So load the game back up, and we now have our angel achievement, and we're back at Friday morning again. This will save us doing a third playthrough, which will save quite a little bit of time, and you won't need to do the orchard collecting apples 3 times. It actually spawned me in where we get dropped off by Father's car, which was a little bit confusing. So walk forward towards the house, open the door, and we'll have to start Friday morning again. Speak to Mother, have breakfast, speak to her again, and then we'll head back to the graveyard. Instead of interacting with the headstone or the grave this time, what we're going to actually do is just do a 180 and head back into the house. So we're just going to speak to Mother. She'll mention that the graveyard's open. We can go and have a look today. So we're going to head back outside. We're going to take a left and then head through to the graveyard. As we get to the graveyard, we'll get that error screen again about core stability, possible corruption. Once that's kicked off, that's going to move us through to Friday evening, which is what we need for our next missable achievement. So once we move into Friday evening, we're just going to do a 180 and head back to the house. If we'd progressed with our angel, it would move us into Saturday eventually, and we wouldn't be able to get this achievement. So this is why we've quit out or dashboarded, so we can get both within this one run. Once we head back inside the house, we're going to head upstairs and we're going to go into our parents' bedroom, which is now open. So open this and we're going to head straight to the back right here and head inside the cupboard. This is going to progress through to Friday night, and we're going to overhear a conversation between both of our parents. So just aim at them and then press RB to interact. That'll unlock the missable achievement called the invalid argument. They were also discussing us, our behaviour, being watched. Something's not quite right, and they also mentioned that there's a secret room in the house which can only be opened on a Wednesday, which can't be done within this run. Now we've moved into Saturday morning, just quickly speak to Mother, who stood outside our room. We're going to head back downstairs and we're going to find Mother in the kitchen again. She's kind of freaking out here. She doesn't want us to follow her around, just stay in your room. She doesn't want anything to do with us. After the kitchen interaction, we're going to head outside, and she's actually located behind the house. So head off to where you'd roughly go for the barn. No, up to the barn. But before taking the right, we're going to take a left, and she's here just outside the kitchen window. Interact with her here, and she's not happy. She's just telling us to quit, telling us to follow our protocols, and we come into the realization that we are actually a robot, an android, not actually her daughter. So once we've spoken to her around the back of the house, we're now going to head inside, and she's actually upstairs in the bathroom this time. There's a nice little bit of text popping out the wall there where we can see her. So again, she's freaking out, telling us to stay back, leave her alone. She wants nothing to do with us. We're now going to head down outside the house and to the right. She's at the very end of the driveway. So even past where we got dropped off by the car. Again, there's kind of a text tooltip kind of on display. Just head towards that and you'll find Mother at the end. Again, freaking out, doesn't want anything to do with us, but we're going to speak to her anyway, because that's the only way to progress the story. Have a little bit of a dialogue here, and then again she'll disappear and we'll level up. That'll move us through to Saturday evening, so it's getting a little darker again. Mother's disappeared as we've been leveling up. So we're just going to do a 180, head back towards the house. So where our father dropped us off, past that, and she's actually in the orchard this time. So back where we were picking apples, head back down the driveway, past the house, and then we're going to take a right once we get to the front door of the house, down the steps into kind of the lakey pond area. Don't know why it's so wet down there. Is it flooded? I don't know. And then we're going to head inside to the orchard, which is on the left here, and then head over to the shed where we'll find Mother again. At this point we're really freaking Mother out and she kind of loses it. And what she's going to do is actually lock us inside this shed, which is not very motherly of her. So speak to her. She's saying we're not well, Father's going to be working on us, we need an upgrade, etc, etc. Turns into Saturday night, and then what we want to do here is interact with the door, which we find is locked, and our protocols are forbidding us for opening it. We then interact with the basket here, and then this kind of overrides that command, and then we can interact with the door again. After a little bit of a dialogue, we kind of kick the door open, and our core has disconnected from our protocols and things, and we head outside and get the achievement Be with Mother. Now that we've kicked the door open, we're going to head back to the house, and we'll find Mother outside of Brother's room. So up the staircase and on the left hand side. At this point, Mother's feeling her and her son are in danger with me being in the house, which is to be expected. I am creepily following her around. Tells us to stay back. Follow your protocols. There's a little bit of dialogue. You say your first line, calling out for Mother, and then that'll progress us through to Sunday morning and give us the achievement You Are Not You. So we're going to head back downstairs. Mother's nowhere to be seen, but there is breakfast again. So we don't want to eat breakfast because it's just dirt. So you force yourself to eat it, so you need to interact with it twice. And it'll be Sunday morning again. Interact with the plate, the phone will ring. This is Father just saying he's coming tomorrow night to try and fix us, put things right. Just saying things are confusing. He's going to do everything he can to fix us. He's coming back from work with a prototype, etc, etc. Hang up the phone. And then Mum is in the kitchen again. Speak to her. Eat this last plate of filth. And this will progress us through to Sunday afternoon. And then Mother is shouting some gibberish outside the window, but we're actually going to go into this kitchen cabinet here, or drawer, and pull out a knife. All the furniture seems to disappear from the house for whatever reason. We're going to head out the front door, take a left, and we're going to head up to the barn, and this is going to be the very end of our first ending. This is the bad ending, by the way. So this gate is no longer here, which was locked leading up to the barn. As you get to the barn, you've got to kind of spiral your way around the outside. So as you go through the door of the barn here on the Sunday evening, you want to take a right, and then it kind of spirals up the outside of the barn a couple of levels, and then you'll find Mother at the very top. She'll ask you to hand over the knife. Our intention going here was to kill Mother, but sadly protocols take over and she takes the knife off us. And then once the dialogue is exhausted with Mother, she'll tell us to kind of stand on this board to our right, this plank, and then all we need to do is interact with the sunset or the horizon, and then Mother is going to kill us off. So the knife we handed over to Mother actually gets used on us, and she kills us off. And then this is going to throw us back to the car with Father at the very start of the game. You should be missing about 5 achievements here. It would be at 700 gamer score. And we're going to go through the story again. So all the earlier steps right up to Wednesday are going to be exactly the same as we did before. I am going to narrate through them again. So 2 interactions with the back of Father's head. And this will move us back to outside the house on Sunday night, where it's pitch black. He'll ask us to pick up the box again, so we're going to head back into the living room, turn on a couple of the lights so we can see the box, pick it up and bring it out to Father. This one we're going to go for the true or the good ending. We only need to go up to Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening I believe, to get this achievement out the way. So it's not a full run through of a week, we're just doing half a week here. So it's a little bit shorter than the bad ending. We will have to do the orchard again, unfortunately. That's kind of the trickiest part of this. So now we've got the box. We're going to just take this back out to Father, pass it through to him through the window. At this point we can kind of guess that it might be the body of the previous daughter that they were testing on. So the last prototype. So Mother's killed us off, put us in a box, passed us to Father, and we're Mark II coming into the house. Up the staircase, into your room again, and we're going to go to sleep. Takes us into Monday morning. We're going to head back downstairs, speak to Mother in the kitchen. These first few days are all exactly the same up until we get to the orchard and start picking apples. So speak to Mother, and then we're going to have breakfast again. All the dialogue's the same, nothing's changed. It's all identical to our first run. This will move us through to Monday afternoon. We're going to do the whole house tour again, so speak to Mother in the living room, and then downstairs bathroom here, which is still locked. We're not sure what's in here, but this run we will find out what is in there. Speak to here, and then we're going back upstairs to our brother's room. Speak to her outside of our brother's room. We never actually see the brother. He's always locked in that room. Into the bathroom, speak to Mother in there. And then our final interaction for this afternoon is outside her room. Just saying that it's locked, we can't go in, we know what's in there. It's kind of an observation room that looks into our bedroom. And then we're going to head downstairs, and Mother's outside in this kind of lake pond area again. Speak to her there. This is then going to progress it through to Monday night, and then we're going to head back up to our bedroom, where we'll find Mother being creepy in the corner again. So 180 back into the house. The door's always shut. It always shuts the door on us. She's not very motherly at all. Right, into our bedroom. Speak to Mother in the corner. The lamp will ping on. She'll want to tuck us in. She'll think, at the moment she thinks that we're her daughter. We haven't started malfunctioning. Head to bed, and then we're back up on Tuesday morning. Same routine, back downstairs, into the kitchen, speak to Mother. All the same dialogue again. We've got about 10 minutes left of this playthrough, and we'll be done and dusted. So breakfast again after speaking to Mother, and then she's going to give us the grand tour outside again. So she stood roughly where the orchard entrance is. Head back down, speak to Mother here, tells us about the orchard again. Then we're going to do a quick 180 when it progresses through to Tuesday afternoon. And we're going to head up to where she stood outside of the graveyard this time. Speak to her here, and then as you've guessed it, we'll speak to her outside of the barn entrance. And once we've spoken to her there, that'll progress us through to Tuesday evening again. We will be seeing another side of the barn on Wednesday, Thursday. So we now moved into Tuesday evening. I'm going to do a 180 and head back to the house. Mother will be in the kitchen again. I just need to speak to her there. And then once we've spoken to her downstairs here, it'll change to Tuesday night, I believe. And then we'll be going to bed. Mother will give us a little bit of a jump scare as we approach our bedroom door, so just a bit of a heads up on that. Up the stairs, a little bit of a jump scare, talk to Mother, and then once we've spoken to her here, open the door and straight to bed. That'll move us through to Wednesday. This is obviously the day that we go and pick the apples in the orchard. This is our last full day, shall I say, and then we start getting some new things popping up. So speak to her in the kitchen, go and eat our breakfast, and then we're going to go and meet her outside in the orchard. So back outside the front door, down the staircase, bare left, past all the birch trees, and then she stood by the shed in the orchard on the left hand side. I believe my apple collection's quite efficient, this one, so I think I managed to pinpoint them pretty quickly. I have done this 5 or 6 times now, I think. I've done quite a few runs. So speak to Mother, pick up the basket, and then we're just gonna hike all these apples into the basket. So that's 1, that's 2, we need 8 in total. So I'm seeking out the one in the middle of all these trees here, and there it is. That's 3, and there's one a little bit closer to Mother, which I'm looking for there, right bang in the middle. It's number 4, and then there's the last few on the outer edges. One thing to note here, what we're not going to do is hand the apples over to Mother once we've collected them. So once we've got all 8, it will progress to Wednesday afternoon. But we're not going to give Mother the apples. We want Mother to stay outside in the orchard. So I just need a couple more here, and you'll soon see what I mean. Because we eavesdropped on a conversation between Mother and Father in that cupboard. And what was mentioned was Wednesday afternoon and his record player in the living room, which opens a secret door. So if we speak to Mother and hand over the apples, that's going to progress us through to Wednesday evening, which is far too late for this achievement, or the true ending, shall I say. So apples still in hand, we haven't spoke to Mother, we're going to head straight back over to the house. We're going to enter the front door, and as I've mentioned already, we're going to head over to the record player, which is in the living room. Towards the kitchen, take a right, and it's right at the end here. Just interact with that. We'll get a little level up screen pop up, and we hear a click behind us, which of course has opened the downstairs bathroom, and we get to see what's behind this door. Open the bathroom door, head down the staircase. Halfway down this staircase, we'll get a pop-up and an achievement for diverting from the path. We're not following the protocols anymore. We'll get a lot of warnings going down here, but the achievements will start popping in. Turn this corner and we'll see Mother. Head towards her. We'll get a critical error, just saying that we can't proceed any further. It'll progress through a couple of time periods into Thursday morning. We're still getting emergency timeout error messages. Thursday afternoon now. Still getting error messages. Can't proceed, can't proceed. Just keep tapping through those. We'll eventually level up so we can proceed. Continue down this corridor. We're getting our functional error. We're into Thursday evening now. Just keep tapping RB to skip through these. Eventually get another level up, which will allow us to proceed forward a little bit more. This section's a little bit tedious. I think it's a bit overdone with all these errors and conflicts and things. It's trying to get the message across, I know, but I think it's a bit much. But we'll persevere for the achievements, of course. So Friday morning now. We're going to get to a bit of an L-shaped dog leg here where we're going to turn right. When we get there, we'll go another level up first. It's now Friday evening, Friday night, pitch black, great. So take a right here. There's another little bit of text floating in the air. Get a warning about not entering the barn, because this is an underground tunnel into the barn. And then there's a hazy memory block here. We're not too sure what this is at the moment. So just head over to it and interact with it. It just mentions that there's a memory block and we need to bypass it. Funny enough, there is a terminal behind us. Do a 180 and interact with this terminal. This will fill in the memory leaks, and we find that we're talking to their daughter. And this is her ashes, which are unusually in the bottom or the basement of the barn. So go back to the ashes, interact with those again, and then back to the terminal where we'll be speaking to their daughter through this machine. It'll then proceed through to Saturday night, just stating that she was once her, and that we've got her core in our body. We're kind of test subject. They're trying to bring their daughter back to life. Eventually she gets downloaded into us, and then we're together again. And this pile of ashes, we're going to head over and interact with those for a third time. We'll get an achievement for memory leak, and if we do a 180, these ashes have actually turned into an exit ramp, which we can now leave. And we'll get another achievement through for our own path, for going along that path of ashes there. And now we're about to leave the house. So we're just going to retrace our steps going down this really long corridor. There's just some talk about us rejecting the protocols and things that we're being given as a robot. And then we're going to head up here, and there's a kind of a door on its side. Open that door and we're back out at the front of the house. We're now going to head down here, and lo and behold, our father is waiting for us. We're going to jump into the car and we'll get the last 2 achievements, and that should be our full 1000 gamer score on Mothered. I hope you guys are still awake. I have run through this several times, and I think that's probably the quickest you're going to get it done. So if you found this video guide useful, as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.